Can you talk to us a little bit about your background and your influence and how your unique diversity has influenced your music?
Absolutely. My diversity is a central theme in my music. It's important for me to explore the diaspora because that's what my family represents. And so I sing 50% in Spanish and
Mhm.
50% in English. I really want to pay homage to my ancestors and continue the music of our culture. So I'm so happy to show through the arts and through music that we are diverse and multilingual, and we have so many wonderful, beautiful songs to share with community and that speak of our journey culturally and socially.
If you don't mind me asking, can you give a little bit of background, a little bit about your cultural background?
Absolutely. My maternal grandfather was born in Panama,
Mhm.
and he actually sold some of the parts to those who built the Panama Canal. So we're very proud of that. And he immigrated to this country, and then he met my grandmother, and she came from Montserrat, from the Caribbean. And on my father's side, our families have been in the States for many years, but we have a very, very diverse family through the diaspora as well. And that's something that I like to play upon in the music and the themes of the music as well, and make sure that I celebrate singing in Spanish and English and whatever language I'm able.
Is there anything that determines like what parts you sing in Spanish or what parts you sing in English, or do you just go with the flow?
I go with the flow. I'm very I try to be organized and I try to be disciplined, and sometimes we have a big plan, but one thing I love about improvisational music is getting to play with my friends who I may not always get to play with in New York or in Europe
Mhm.
or in other places. And it kind of depends on how I'm feeling at the time. Sometimes I'll be thinking in Spanish and it will just come out. Some songs I've translated from English to Spanish or from Spanish to English, or we'll sing lyrics in both languages. So we'll just see what happens, but hopefully you can understand me one way or another.
And I think that's very unique because we know that jazz is all about improvisation. And now for you to be adding the aspect of improvisation even in the language that you're speaking really adds like a unique craft to that, because I don't know if I know a lot of people sing in Spanish and English, but I don't really know if I've really heard anyone say like they just go with the flow, whichever one comes out is how it comes out, you know?
Absolutely. Of course, there are some standards that we'll share that I'll definitely do in Spanish because I haven't imagined them in English and or translated them, or the translation may not work for singing.
Mhm.
But for a lot of my originals, especially, sometimes I'm like, we got to do a verse in Spanish. We got to do a verse in English. Like people need to know what I'm saying, give other people an opportunity if they don't understand one of the two languages as well. And it's more of an opportunity to connect and come together as community.
One of the things I want to touch on as well is when it relates to your music, you've also been like featured in film and television shows and stuff like that. When you are writing or singing a song for that, do you approach them differently than if you were doing them specifically for an album, or do you approach them the same?
When I write music, I really just want to focus on the art of the song. And when I'm saying that, I mean, what does this mean to me? And so for my writing, I really want it to be a sacred experience and not let the influence, even though it's wonderful, we have awards and we have other ways of celebrating artists, but I like to create art for art's sake. And maybe it will work well in a movie and I'll be so grateful if it does. But as long as the message of the song is delivered in the most effective way and we get all of the things from the music that I think are important, I want you to feel something. If it's a heartbreak, we've all been through that. What is that feeling like? Being in love, all of those things, strife, political things that we're going through. We're going through so much turmoil and difficulty all around the world, and really finding a time to come together and celebrate love and the arts is what's always important through my original music, especially. So I try to focus on that first.
And I really can appreciate, that concept of it because, I mean, like we do know that sometimes you may have to do something, but the fact that you're being, in a way, just able to just be yourself and still be accepted in that realm is always a great thing, because then you don't have that pressure of, it has to be like this and it has to be like that. You can truly stay true to your art, your craft, your gift, and your inner spirit.
I really just want to evolve as an artist and feel comfortable doing that. And on my journey, a lot of people would say, "Oh, well, why aren't you belting or why aren't you doing this or that?" And it's not who I am. It's not authentic to my journey as an artist and how I express myself. So if people start to embrace that and say, if you want to see Lauren, you see Lauren. If you want to see this person, that's what you're going to get. But I think they are generally getting the idea of what to expect, and just good vibes everywhere is what's important for me for sure.
But isn't that also like the beauty of artistry? Because it has that diversity. I think a lot of things are always better when it's diverse. When you have the different sounds, the different textures, the different colors, the different interpretations, like all of that diversity is really what keeps it so. The first word that comes to my mind is precious, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. It is precious. It is precious. It's a very beautiful thing, and it's a powerful, powerful tool that it might not be considered essential work or all of these things, but it is. We need to connect. It's a form of therapy for me, and I know that others feel the same. So I really appreciate the opportunity to do that professionally, and I'll never take that for granted.
You are also the CEO of your record label, which is Brontosaurus Records, and you are an internationally acclaimed recording artist, in case they didn't already figure that out, okay? How do you balance your business responsibilities with your creative pursuits?
That's great. If I'm going to be 100% honest, and maybe you can hear it a little bit, I'm under the weather. I
Hmm.
ran myself down. I just got back from Europe a couple weeks ago. I have some artists coming out with some amazing projects. We're all mere mortals. So there are some days where I'm like, I got no sleep and I have to pick up my prescriptions from CVS or whatever it is I have to do. And, I'm trying to find a way of honoring myself and my loved ones and my music, and also supporting the careers of
Mhm.
all of the wonderful artists that I'm so privileged to collaborate with and produce on Brontosaurus. And I started Brontosaurus because I think it's powerful to have artists being transparent with each other. We understand, we can empathize with what we're experiencing, being honest about things as simple as royalties. I have friends who are physicians, and when they get a job offer, they talk about, I'm making X amount of money this year, and really incorporating a business sense into the arts without flooding that in, and still leaving space to breathe and feel good,
Right.
relax into the music. But it's important that we have these transparent discussions because it empowers all of us to, support ourselves, to support our music, to reach the communities that will continue to lift us up, because it's really impossible to do this without the support of fans, the streams, the likes, the loves, the sharing. I'm sure you know as well.
Okay. Exactly.
We need you.
And I like what you said about the business side and and still being able to stay in the creative side of the house, because I think that's the challenge that a lot of us have. We love what we're doing. We want to be creative, but we also understand we got to handle business. And
Right.
sometimes once you get to handling the business, it can overshadow the fun and the love for what you're doing, and you really don't want that to happen, but you still want to handle that business, okay?
Right, exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. And we will handle business. We always get it done. Make
Okay.
sure you have your crew with you that lifts you up and supports you, and can also check in if you might be going off path a little bit, or maybe just have another opinion. If that's something that is positive in your realm, I think that's great. But I am grateful to have some experience with both being an artist and understanding that, and then having a deep understanding of the business side of the industry, because those tools help me connect with our Brontosaurus artists.
If I'm not mistaken, you are going on like your 10th tour or something, right?
Yes, I am going back to Europe in September into October, and then I'll be back again in March of the following year. And many times, so I've been so fortunate to perform numerous times all throughout Europe, and Italy, Spain, France, Germany. Uh, I've my first tour of my life was actually in Russia, and I was in Russia for a month. This is a long time ago, but now looking back, I feel overwhelmed and in awe of all the things that I've been able to see. Of course, when you're on tour, it's not like you can go sightseeing all day.
Right.
You have a job to do, and people bought their tickets and got to get off of your flight and keep it moving. But as the world changes and we're navigating all of these social issues, I think it's very important to amplify our voices, not only in this country, but around the world, and spread love and music and all things beautiful through art.